Welcome back to Investing and Trading Live. As always, my name is Josh Lilquist, and I have my good friend and my good pal, Mr. Al Connickson, on the show here, dropping some knowledge on the stock market. We're going to have the OTA tip of the week on this segment here, so stay tuned for the end of this segment for that. But we had a lot of people texting in on the last segment for that free investing class that we do here locally. We have a state-of-the-art facility and teaching the different techniques and concepts on the stock market, how it works, how to make smart investing decisions. Simply just text the word investing to the number 210-210 for 2 seats for a free investing class, one for you and one for a friend, or simply go to investwithota.com and do it yourself there. We have a lot of do-it-yourselfers, and you can pick your own date that works the best for you. We have these on the weekdays, weekends, and in the evenings. Pretty much anybody can attend. Make sure to subscribe and like the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, Investing and Trading Live, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. That being said, Al, we had a lot of discussion in the last segment about how to protect those funds, those retirement accounts, your assets, we like to call them. And because we have a lot of listeners that have those retirement accounts built. Now, there's a way for people to build those as well. So let's just say somebody has a certain amount in their retirement account and they just feel they're not there yet. Or let's just say someone needs to create one. They feel they're a little behind the 8 ball and they need to create that. And sometimes, you ever seen that movie? What's that movie from Iowa, the baseball movie, Field of Dreams, right?
Right.
And you had that voice. Who was that voice that did that? If you build it, he will come. Remember who did that?
Yeah,
I forget.
Shoeless Joe.
Yeah, was it Shoeless Joe Jackson? Yeah,
that
was the voice. I forget who actually did that voice. But that's kind of the same thing in investing and trading. If you have a positive mindset, if you think things will happen or think positively, positive things happen.
That's true.
And that's one of the cool things that you inspire people to do is think big, think positive. If you have a retirement account you need to build, you can do it. You just have to learn the skills and techniques, but you have to take action to do that. It's not going to happen on its own.
Yep.
So with that abundance mentality, how do you really help people get into that mindset if they're not quite there yet?
Yeah, well, it starts with, I guess, having a desire to have something work for you. You maybe start by asking yourself this: Are you where you want to be financially, or where you thought you would be financially, whether you're retired or not retired yet? And if not, it's probably because you've kind of fallen into the trap that I think Wall Street has intentionally set for people, and that's to be okay with mediocrity, be okay being average.
Status quo.
Yeah, it's status quo. And if you're okay with that, fine. But if you want to excel, if you want to be able to live the lifestyle that you really want to live or maintain the lifestyle you have now, maybe you have to do something a little different. Maybe you have to do something that gives you the opportunity to outperform that mediocrity.
Yeah.
And it does start with your attitude. I'm glad you mentioned that because I think, personally, I believe that about 70%, at least minimum 70% of success comes from your attitude.
It does, yeah.
If you want something to work, if you believe it will work, it's probably going to work for you. You're going to put the effort into it, and most things that are worthwhile require a little bit of effort. But you have to have that desire first. You have to have the right attitude.
Correct. Yeah, I like that. And when people are looking to build those accounts, it starts with, obviously you have to open an account.
Sure.
And it's extra income is how you build those wealth accounts.
Right.
Right.
You can't have wealth unless you take care of the income part of it. It's the extra income that allows you to have that money work for you to create wealth.
Correct. So which one's more important then?
I believe the income is.
Okay.
I believe they're both important, but as I mentioned, you cannot do anything with a wealth portfolio that you don't have. And if you don't have the extra income to build it, it just doesn't exist. So and when you're in retirement, by the way, I think I asked you this question before. What goes away when you retire?
It's that job.
Yeah, it's the income from that job, and that income is what kept you alive. What pays your bills and allows you to have some fun in life. When that's gone, that's a big void. How do you fill that void? Well, you need to know how to generate additional income other than from a job, and that's one of the things that we do. I would say the majority of the students coming in now are focusing on retirement, and they're I was going to say concerned. They're scared. When you look at all the things that are happening geopolitically around this world, things are changing. Things have changed over the last 5 years. You can't count on what you used to do to provide benefits going forward. Most people are using strategies that were really developed maybe 40 or 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And that it never is going to be anything that is consistent in the markets. Well, I take that back. There is. The one thing that's consistent is what moves price.
Supply and demand.
It's supply and demand. It's buyers and sellers. That's what's going to move price. And that's what you need to concentrate on. Then all of these other, fancy strategies that we keep hearing about that come and go aren't really that beneficial, because in order for anything to work, you have to have buyers and sellers. You have to have that balance or imbalance between supply and demand.
Yep, and kind of having those old, outdated strategies is just like basketball. I talk a lot about football in the first few segments. We talk about baseball, Field of Dreams. Let's get into basketball here, because it is opening week, or it just was opening week for the NBA.
Correct.
And it's like an NBA player wearing the shoes from the 60s and the 70s, even the 80s. A shoe is a shoe, but then again, they have changed over time, and they've been more comfortable. You go look at Michael Jordan when he played his last game. I believe it was his last game. He wore his Jordan 1s, and I believe he had to change them because he had so many blisters on his feet from the Jordan 1s that he originally had in 1984, I believe it was. So that's the thing, is you have to have strategies for what the market is doing today, and that's what we do at the Academy.
Right.
There's income strategies with futures, Forex, options, the stock market. It's one of the best places and best opportunities you can look at, because you can do it all from home. You can do it from anywhere in the world, because as long as you have internet connection, you can invest and trade. So if you need that, that's why we cover that in these investing classes: futures, Forex, options, stocks, the opportunities that you can use them for to start to build that wealth, or protect it, or create that wealth bucket, and it starts with extra income. So come into one of these classes, and we'll show you how that works. Well, it's a physical place to go to learn about the markets, and these are classes where we've taught thousands, just like you, are different strategies which are designed to make you smarter, to make you make smarter investing decisions. Text the word investing to the number 210-210, one for you and one for a friend, or simply go to investwithota.com. Al, we talked a lot about this investing class. In your opinion, because you teach a lot of these, what in about 1 minute, what can somebody learn and get out of this class?
Yeah, I think bottom line is, when you leave that class, you should have a good idea of whether you believe there are benefits in the market, and that those benefits will help you to achieve the goals that you have. So what we do in the 2-hour class, Josh, is we talk about how the markets function, what really is important. Let's cut out all of the stuff out there that's unimportant.
We used to call that fluff.
It is. I'm still going to call it fluff. That's exactly what it is. So we want to defluff you, and just talk about what's important. Let's keep it simple. This is not as hard as people make it sound. Human beings have a tendency to overcomplicate things, and what we want to do is simplify this. So, and part of the benefit of simplifying it is it helps you increase your confidence to be able to do this.
Yep.
But that's what we do. We talk about the how the markets function, why price moves, who moves price, and how you can benefit from that, and then the different assets. Most people are only familiar with stocks or mutual funds, or maybe what they have in their 401ks, which most people don't know. Most people don't even know what's in their 401ks. We talk a little bit about that, but we talk about the other assets that all of the pros use, but Wall Street is not teaching the public how to use them. And that's what we do. We show you what they're doing. And by the way, those companies, the professional traders out there, the Wall Street firms that are consistently successful, regardless of what's happening in the market, are using things that you can use, but they're not putting you in those things, and they're not teaching you about those things. That's what we do.
Yep. Just bringing this back full circle. We started off the show with a football theme. The Minnesota Vikings had a great Monday Night Football win against the 49ers. Way to go, Kirk Cousins and company. And I'm going to end it with a football theme as well. One of my favorite athletes of all time, Deion Sanders, coach of the Colorado Buffs right now, bringing a team to life, making them believe that they can go out and win games. I think they had one win last year. They already have 4 wins this year, and it starts with believing. And that's what he's instilled in his players. That's what we need to instill in our minds. If you believe you can do something, make it happen. But it all starts with getting started with that action. And once you have that action, it's just step by step. And the cool thing about online trade OTA is we have a step-by-step process already built for you. So you got to believe. One last set of seats for this investing class. Text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats for this investing class. One for you and one for a friend. Also, you can also go to investwithota.com and pick your own date there. Al, you've dropped a lot of knowledge, a lot of hints and tips and tricks. Let's hear today's OTA tip of the week.
Well, it's never too late or too early to achieve, or at least attempt to achieve the goals you want to achieve. There's no time limit. There's no rules. You can make decisions now to change things or to stay the same. You can make the best of things or the worst of things. We hope you decide to make the best of things, and if you need some help, we're here to give you the guidance to be able to do that. Most people know who Zig Ziglar is, one of the top motivational speakers of all time. He said this: "You were born to win, but to be a winner, you must plan to win, expect to win, and prepare to win." Remember, if you're not willing to learn, no one can help you. But if you're determined to learn, no one can stop you.
I love that, Al. It starts with believing, and that's a good quote there by our good friend Zig Ziglar. As always, we talk about many different topics on the show. Stay tuned next week. We're going to cover some different topics. We're going to get into more topics on the markets as far as futures, Forex, options. We love doing the show every single week. Many, our thousands of listeners across the country, actually worldwide on the podcast. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast, Invest in Trading Live, wherever you listen to podcasts. As always, same time, same place next week. Until then, retire young, my friends.